Hey everyone, I'm here with Shane Wenzel, president of Shane Home Group of Companies. Shane, how you doing?
Oh, as good as can be
Under the circumstances, no kidding.
under the circumstances, yeah.
So Shane, just wanted to find out from you, just kind of what's going on in your world right now. Obviously, we're however many weeks into this, but what are you seeing within the company, within the industry, from your perspective?
I think a lot of it is similar. I mean, we've been around for 40 years, and you like to say that you've seen it all, Jeff, but we haven't seen it all just yet. It's out there, and it's a challenge. It is definitely a challenge.
And I think when I take a look at companies like yourselves, I mean, there's such a big trickle down effect. I mean, are you guys, what do you do from a communication standpoint? Because I mean, so many trades you guys impact in employees. Is there plans in place for that, or how regularly are you communicating?
We try and communicate on a daily basis. I mean, there's certainly a lot of phone calls, a lot of Zoom conversations, even about where we see things going and how we're managing through it. So the communication is daily. I think that's probably half of my job right now.
And is there much discussion amongst industry peers and kind of what the plans are, or is it just kind of go with the flow? I mean, nobody really has the answers here.
No, and we do spend a tremendous amount of time talking, and we're very fortunate that we have a very strong industry organization through Build Calgary, and they communicate a couple of times a day, and we're just trying to do our best to to stay open in a realistic and safe kind of way.
And is there still traffic? Are you guys still, have you shifted things to online, or is there any kind of a move to that? Do you see that in the future actually having an impact as well?
Well, I mean, it's had an immediate impact. Obviously, people are naturally concerned about going out to the show homes, and of course, that's the way we do business. Is we rely on a lot of foot traffic out there. Yeah, so the traffic has dropped substantially, but we've managed to take our processes and put them online, and we've kind of had to learn to do this on the run like everybody else out there. And we are finding that there's some people who are doing a tremendous amount of shopping, but they're also making a purchase virtually.
That's great. I mean, that's nice to hear, because I mean, I think that's a bit of that positivity that life will go on. And just wondering if any advice you'd have for any other business leaders out there, entrepreneurs, whether they're in the home building space or other industries.
Uh, well, you know what? Really, like you have to review your budgets line by line. You have to determine what's necessary and what's frivolous, and eliminate that frivolous for now. I guess for me, we've already started looking at it, saying, okay, this is not a year that we're going to make a profit. So let's work towards how do we just break even. And that's not something you ever think that you want to try and achieve in your career, but that is really the attitude moving forward is breaking even. But you have to adjust your business processes. Like I mentioned earlier on, I mean, we've had to learn how to work virtually, and I think that has been one of the benefits moving forward. You wonder if you can do it, and you've actually found a way to do it because we've all been forced to. So when you can go back and show people it can be done, they tend to buy into it. But if I had any advice for businesses out there, I would say do those things. But more importantly, recognize that we've got to keep the economy going. So there are ways of doing it. I mean, I make a point of doing takeout, 2 or 3 times a week, just to keep those smaller businesses going. I think I bought probably about $300-400 in gift cards now. Just to show our support for local. And and we have a few smaller consultants that we work with. So I mean, we're maintaining the contracts, or at least reducing them and keeping them working as well. So that above all is important to me, and I think it's got to be for a lot of the business community out there.
You know what? In that, there's a lot of talk about the support local across the province, and I think that it's great to hear that, because I mean, it's every business, big, small, that we need to support. And it's interesting that you talk about a win this year is going to be breaking even.
Hmm.
We know there's a lot that won't be breaking even, and so I mean we've got to try and maintain it to keep things afloat. What would you recommend just from a personal standpoint? I mean, in anything you're doing differently, or just to kind of stay positive and keep hope?
Well, I mean, that's a daily challenge, and I'd love to say that I'm up 100% of the time, but I'm not. I do try and stay away from a lot of the negativity out there, and a lot of the negative stories, especially. So I'm not a daily news watcher or listener or reader, but I try and find things that can help with your own personal improvement. I mean, there's now some time available at least to improve your skill set. And even learn something different. I mean, Zoom calls are a good example of it all. We all have to learn how to communicate that way, and I mean that is an art in itself. Working remotely is an art in itself. I never thought I could do it, and I'll admit, for about the first 2 3 days, it was pretty frustrating. But I managed to do that. But socially, it's been a challenge because I'm that guy. I'm used to being out probably 2 or 3 nights a week, and now my social time is go to work, come home. Going to the grocery store is like walking into the Emmys. You're happy to be around and to be noticed again.
It's
You know,
amazing. It's those little things that you kind of take for granted that, like, everybody says, well, the price of gas is 60 cents now. That's great. And I'm going, I would happily pay a buck 20 or a buck 30 to have things go back to normal.
Yeah, I know. I'm always amazed because when I go through a drive-through, to pick up a coffee in the morning, again, some of that normalcy. You see gas at 59.9, and you think, I think the last time I had seen that was probably back in the late '90s. But
No,
like you said, I've got nowhere to go. I think I filled up with gas here about 2 weeks ago, and I'm still not on empty.
yeah, no kidding. Shane, appreciate you taking the time. Is there any other last comments you'd make, or anything, any recommendations? I mean, we know we're going to get through this and it's going to be different, but any words of wisdom you'd like to add?
Again, just avoid that negative news or that negative Nancy in your life, and try and stay positive throughout it all. Again, I know it's not a realistic request, 100% of the time, but as much as you possibly can, because when we get down on ourselves, that's when we begin to give up hope, and you can't give up hope at this point in time. I mean, we've got to move forward, and we've got to do it in the most positive way. I mean, this will pass. It'll take some time, but it will definitely pass. We've just got to keep working our way through it and show the support. That phone call, that text, the people will hopefully brighten their day.
And any comments on Alberta as a whole? I mean, I've talked to a few people about this. I mean, we've kind of been kicked in the teeth for the last 5 6 years here.
Mhm.
Um, any thoughts? And what do we need to do from a provincial standpoint? I mean, because really we truly are in this. I mean, any comments around that?
Well, without sounding too political, I think we should be happy that we have the provincial government that we do have. They were on the ball, and they were on the ball early, thankfully, and they're doing a tremendous amount of testing, which will help us get through this a lot quicker. But it's finding that point where you can reopen the economy, ever slowly, which I'm in agreement with. But we're going to have to find different ways of generating revenue, because oil's going to take a bit of a kicking for a while here. But it's a great opportunity, for incentives from the provincial government to open up even manufacturing and distribution, which I think is a great strong possibility for this province.
Perfect, sir. Shane, really appreciate you taking the time. I know things are busy and kind of crazy, and so thanks for taking the time, and wish you the best in these tough times, and stay healthy, and hope to see you in person sometime soon.
Oh, I got a lot of people that I'm going to go visit personally after this, Jeff.
Good
But
stuff.
thanks for the opportunity to talk, and keep it up. This is a great initiative and a positive one at that.
Perfect. Appreciate the support. Thanks, Shane.
You bet. Take care, bud.
Bye now.